Welcome to today's video. We're back at Yashio Factory because a very important part arrived for the SR build. As you guys know, we've been waiting on the crank and the crank is here. I'm gonna start cleaning down this block and getting everything all prepped and ready because today we're going to be doing, I'm not sure if we're gonna get to final assembly of the bottom end. Most likely we're gonna be assembling everything with plastic gauge and checking all the tolerances and all that stuff for final assembly, which could be tomorrow or Monday. I'm not sure yet, but it could all happen tonight. We'll find out. But before we get started, I want to take this moment to remind you about the clearance sale we are doing on SAMMIT.net. Head there right now and grab yourself a shirt. We're trying to clear everything out for the next really big drop that's coming, and I need all the space I can. Also, take advantage of some of the accessories and whatnot. Because we use DHL Express, the base rate doesn't really change when you throw in like stickers, pins, or lanyards, or keychains, or jet tags, and all that kind of stuff. So, SAMMIT.net, jump on it, grab yourself some shirts. It'll really help us out a lot. Also, you guys keep asking about Yuta and get him more in the vlogs. Hi Yuta. Eigo dake ne. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Dekiru yo. Hello. Hello. My name is Yuta.
My name is Yuta.
Yay, he's doing good. As usual, everyone's pretty busy here, and that particular car that Yuta's working on, next week I'm going to be doing the tune with Oka-chan. It's got a link in it, so we're going to be doing that together because I'm going to be getting as much experience as I can because I'm tuning the Chaser all by myself once we finish with that. So that's going to be a bit of a learning curve. Anyways, I'm excited about that, but we need to jump in to this guy here. I'm gonna pretty much go through and clean it all out. There's still some RTV on a few little places and stuff like that. Get everything as clean as possible. I'm gonna pull out the little grub screws and stuff for the oil galleries and blow them out with the compressed air and parts cleaner all through there and get up as much debris as debris. I can't talk. I'm excited. I just want to put this thing together. Let's go. Taking a quick moment to tell you about today's video sponsor, which is DAFSKY. And as you can see behind me, we are at the park to check out the beautiful sakura trees in full bloom. And here's the best thing. DAFSKY is an online store dedicated to selling only the coolest and sickest air fresheners for your ride. And we collaborated together to bring you a Japanese authentic sakura scented air freshener for your car. This clips onto your AC vent, and as you can see, the S15 and the sakura trees are there in the background. It's super cool. I hope you guys love it.
DAFSKY also has an all-new anime series on their website with all your favorite anime characters.
Head to DAFSKY.com, go grab yourself some, as well as some of their other air fresheners, and your car can start smelling like it does right here in this park right now. The sakura is seriously amazing. If you don't know what it is, it's the cherry blossom trees here in Japan, and it's a huge seasonal thing. And it pretty much, I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me, but you can see a lot of people under them drinking and having parties with friends and stuff. It's a huge cultural thing. With that, guys, let's get back to the video.
I am now finished cleaning this block down and it looks absolutely beautiful. Probably the cleanest SR20 block I've ever seen. There's still a few spots and stuff like that I could scrub and clean up, but I just don't think it's worth it. Inside though, the thing is spotless. I went through and cleaned out all the oil galleries using compressed air and parts cleaner and stuff like that. So everything's pretty much as clean as I can get it. And we're pretty much ready to start doing our clearancing and checking with the bearings. So I don't think today we're gonna get time to have the whole bottom end assembled. I think what we're going to have time for doing is checking all of our clearances. And how that works is it's actually really interesting. I'm loving this, and I didn't know that Nissan did all this kind of stuff. So this is my first time, and Oka-chan's been teaching me, but the block has a special number here, right? Might be hard to see, but this is your bearing number. Now, you can't just go and order standard bearings and throw it in because each section here is different. So each part here that the crank sits in has a different bearing size, and from the factory it tells you right here. So you can't just go and buy like a pack of ACL race bearings and throw them in and not check this. So we're looking at 22121. So this is 22121. Now this is different depending on what block you have. This will be different. Now first number 1 is a 2. Then what we need to do is look at the bearing number on the crank as well, which is here, and you can see that 13221. So number 1 on this, so this is like number 1 here, and this would be number 1 here. This is a 1 on the crank, but a 2 here. So what we do is we look here in the Nissan, I guess like the manual for like building engines and stuff like that. It tells you here, see, you gotta look at the number on the block and then the crank and match it up. So here, this is the crank. So we went to 1 here, and then we line this up with what we saw on the block, which was a 2, and we can see that it's calling for standard bearing number 3, which has a different tolerance. And it's like it's slightly a different size than all the rest of them. And if you don't do this, you're putting in the wrong size bearings. So what we've got here is Nismo race bearings. That's what we're using in the engine. That's all Okachan uses when he rebuilds the motor. And the last number on this box is a 3. This is number 3 standard bearing size. If we have a look in this box, you can see we've got all the other ones here. We've got 2, we've got 1. I think these ones here will be 4. See the 3, 4 there. So all of these are the different sizes. And what we're going to do, so we've got the first one here. I've already cleaned this with parts cleaner. It's ready to go in. And these only go in one particular way. Also bear in mind that this is going to match up with oil gallery, so you only get the bearing with the holes in it like that. And this is going to slide in here, and we know that this is correct because we've matched it up with here and the crank. Now, we are still going to be checking this with Plastigauge because we did get the crank polished and we don't know how much material was taken off, and to triple check that, the Plastigauge will tell us whether or not our clearances are in spec. If they're in spec, we are good, we don't need to change bearings, but if they are not in spec, we just go up one size and we'll go again. And it's a very time consuming thing, which is why I don't think we're gonna get the bottom end all together today, but we're gonna at least get all the clearancing done and see that whole process done. So let's get to it. I'm gonna go through and match up the rest of the bearings, get the crank sitting in there, get the Plastigauge in there, and we'll know what we're doing. I wanted to show you guys just how different each individual bearing is. You can see number 1, we went with the size standard size 3. This is the last digit here on the part number is what you match it up to with the book. Number 2 was a 4, number 3 was a 2, number 4 was a 3, and then number 5 was a 1. And 1's kind of rare actually, like just so you know, like you can see this box here is, we've used a lot of 2s and 3s in previous engine builds, but 1s, I was the first one to pull a 1 out of this. So 1s are generally pretty rare. But yeah, Okachan's definitely got all the bearings that we need here, so very, very fortunate about that. I'm going to get to cleaning the crank and then we'll be able to sit that in. So I finished cleaning up all of, I guess, my end caps here, and I'm starting to put the new bearings in. And once again, all of these are labeled from factory from 1 through to 5. And if you guys remember, I laid out all my bearings here in a specific order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each one of those bearings is going into each individual cap. So that it matches up with the different sizes throughout the entire crankshaft. It's also very important, we're going through and just cleaning each individual bearing with some parts cleaner, making sure there's no material or anything on that. Once I clean it with the cloth and this, I'm then going through with the air compressor and just spraying some air over it to get some more of the debris or anything that could be left on there. And this is everything that Okachan's taught me once again. So pretty much just following his lead and going through and doing this. There are some markings like paint markings and color codes on some of these bearings that have to come off. And that's pretty much it. And I'm going to show you installing one of the bearings into the caps because there's only one way that it goes in. It's a good way to just have a look. So once we've cleaned that out, and then just go through it with a bit of air. We're good. Number 2 end cap here. And if you can see, there's a little like kind of notch here. And that lines up with the notch in the bearing here. And it'll kind of just like click into place. If you line it all up. Like so. Perfect. I've now got the crank sitting in the block, got everything cleaned and laid out, and Okachan's now teaching me the Plastigauge. So I've never used Plastigauge before. It looks relatively simple. Looks like we put a piece like that on each journal.
これが
見る見た。
いいだろ大体この2 0.25 0.38 ここら辺にいればいいの。
分かった。
これが潰れて、
はい。
こう合わせるこれかこれにあれいれば
Okay, わかりました。ありがとうございます。So he's just explaining that once we tighten everything up, what's going to happen is this little piece of plastic here is going to squish out, and then you can use this to measure and see what your clearances and tolerances are. わかった。So 025 038大丈夫ですか？
大丈夫大丈夫。
Okay, so he said 0.025 and 0.038 is okay and within tolerance for this. So we're going to go through and put the plastic gauge on every single journal and tighten everything down and then pull it all off and check. And the main caps are all going in now with that plastic gauge in there. Kind of line them up. And we got our girdle here, which I believe this is the front of the engine. Going back and looking at the book here really quickly. Front of the engine, yep, that's correct. The front of the engine has these little 10 mils here for the oil pickup. That will sit like that there. Oh man. And then we got to put all these in. I'm going to get some oil real quick and put on the threads, and then spec it all down, take it all off again, make sure our tolerances are good. I know I keep saying that, but I have to keep reminding myself, like, we have to measure 3 times, that way we don't make a mistake, you know what I mean? The last thing you want is having to pull it all out and start again. And this is what we use for assembly lube here, is engine oil mixed with this stuff here, EPL. Don't really know too much about it, but that goes, oh, it's like blue. That's kind of cool. So that gets mixed in there with the engine oil, and then that's what we're using for assembly lube. I'm pretty sure this has like some really special chemicals and additives and stuff in there. High protection metal treatment. Interesting. Probably just as good as, or if not better, as assembly lube. Let's get this thing lubed up and go. So I've done all of the main bolts up by finger tight right now, and now we're up to doing the tightening pattern. We're going to go back to the Nissan engine build manual. We can see here there's a 5-step process. So first we've got to tighten them roughly in between 26.5 to 32.4 Newton meters. Then we got to turn them another 75 degrees after that. All in this pattern, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then once we've done that, we then reset them back to 0 in the opposite order. So 10, 9, and then 8, 7, and so forth, all the way back through the middle. And then we go and tighten them one more time from 32.4 to 38.2 Newton meters, and then turn a further 45 to 50 degrees. 5-step process. Let's get this done. I can't speak, man. What's wrong with me today? So as you guys would have just watched, I finished doing a full cycle on this, and we're going around now and checking with the plastic gauge. So we can go through here and see that everything is roughly on the 0.25, a few on the 0.38, which is all within tolerance, which is perfect. So yeah, it looks like the crank really just got a polish. Didn't really get like a full like linish or grinding or anything like that took off any material, which is really good to know. Means we got ourselves a nice tight, but also in spec standard bearing crankshaft. So I'm pretty hyped about that. I've got everything disassembled now, and it's time to re-clean everything and put it all back together, but with assembly lube and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure you can gather it's very time consuming to get all this kind of stuff done. And I'm gonna go hang out with Okachan for a little bit now, and I'll pick this up tomorrow and get the engine fully assembled then, and then we'll pick it up after that. On our way home, I decided might as well pull into Daikoku PA because it's Friday night and it's always the best time. Usually cops don't shut it down, although I have heard they've been a bit stricter with the lockdowns and curfews in place right now because of COVID, so we will see. But normally Friday's the lit night. Oh yeah, she's full. There's a lot of roadsters too. This looks awesome. A lot of people here. Definitely must be some kind of roadster night tonight. That thing is next level. We need to look at that in a little bit. But yeah, a lot of ND roadsters. RX-7 FD, 34. It's cool. And then over here is a whole bunch more roadsters too. Yo, NSX. Nice. Let's keep walking through, see what we find. Another roadster rolling in. Slammed. massive wang. And the roof, I don't know, storage, luggage thing. It's a lot of roadsters here tonight. MX-5s, Miatas, wherever you're from in the world, they got a different name, don't they? Check out this cappuccino, and you know what this thing has in common with my K-Van? Identical engine, turbo, ECU, the whole thing. That is nice though. Anyways, my friend Jeff is here with his S15, and if you guys remember, he's been having a few issues with it, and one of the best things about obviously working with Okachan are the perks of understanding everything about S chassis and the stock ECU. Okachan's water temp meter doesn't just tell you the temperature of the water. This thing controls a bunch of features through the Nissan console port on the stock ECU. One of them being, it will tell you what base timing is at. So you can look at your crank pulley with a timing light, and if that doesn't match up with what this is telling you from the ECU, then you can adjust your crank sensor, your cam angle sensor, to the correct position so it is correct in timing. It's like setting your base timing with an aftermarket ECU. So, you know, your boy Sam here's got everything he needs to check and set base timing on Jeff's stock S15 here today. So that's what we're doing. Timing light, 12mm wrench, and Okachan water temp meter 3. That's all we need. Let's find out if it's out of time or not. I don't think it's going to be, because it does look like it's in a pretty good condition, but good position. The crank sensor does look like it's in a stock position, but you never know till you check, right? All right, so we got Jeff's car idling. I've got the Okachan water temp meter through there, so I can see how many degrees of timing it's sitting at idle. We're at 850 RPM roughly at 15 degrees. And if I check this, I see that we're smack bam on 15 degrees. So there's nothing wrong with timing. The crank position sensor has been put in correctly, so that rules out that thing.
Nice.
I guess we'll just turn up the boost and get you a Yashio factory tune.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. Such a simple thing, but I've literally done this on so many S chassis and solved people's like issues with loss of power, because like the the cam angle sensor was like retarded by 10 degrees and stuff like that. So like the turbo was loading up, not boosting and spooling properly, and it was just because base timing was completely out. Super simple check, and you can fix that. It really comes down to like how you, well, one, you got to put that in correctly so it lines up perfectly, but then if you twist it incorrectly and it's not in the right position, then that's when you'll have problems. And even just 5 degrees out can make your SR so much slower, especially with the factory ECU. So make sure you always set base timing and make sure it's correct, and get yourself something that plugs into the console port so you can make sure. This guy literally just went over here and lost a side skirt, and he's just run over there and put it on the ground. So good. There's a side skirt. Oh man, damn, the Onikan on that, the negative camber is crazy. That thing is slammed. So cool. Tonight is so pumping, guys. It's about 10 p.m. and I've just been chilling, hanging with friends and everyone. And it is just, this is what I live for, guys. Like, it is so good. Look at this guy over here just chilling on his bonnet of his car. I don't know if you'd see that. So many roadsters here. This is probably my favorite one. I don't know what aero kit this is, but it looks so nice in the Montana Bears. It's just a very nice kit. The hard top, the white, everything looks amazing. I don't know what front bar this is, but it ties in so beautifully. The over fenders and everything. I love it. And then this SA22C here. So period correct, it's amazing, and it's got that Porsche style inspired front bumper. Very nice. I dig this a lot. I need to check in the rear of this. B-wave kind of style wing. Very nice. This S15 is amazing. Itasha with Advent Onis. You guys know, every time I see a pair of Advent Onis, I drool. This is amazing. It's like a black glitter paint. And the Itasha, very, very cool car. 超かっこいい車です。めっちゃいい。So good. エンジンのノーマルですか？ノーマル？
カービンもノーマル。
うん、ブーストのいつ？
ブースト？
うん。
ブースト1。
1？あ、そう、ちょっとブーストアップね。うん、いいね。
サスペンションとか。
サスペンションとか？車高調？そっか。
トランスミッションとか。
あ、トランスミッション何ミッション？
ニスモ。
ニスモ？いいね。かっこいい。いいね。Very nice. I love this. This is cool. ドリシャですか？
ドリシャです。
ああ、いいね。ありがとうございます。めっちゃかっこいい。よし。Oh. Oh. The best seat in the whole place is right here because you just get to watch everyone scraping and bottoming out. It's cringe city, but it is definitely the most entertaining spot to be in Daikoku. Jumped in the car and gonna head home. It's 11:15. I definitely had way too much fun just chilling and hanging out here. Such a good night. I've not seen it this full and this amazing in a long time. And this is the vibes that I love. So, man, just feels good right now. We're gonna go home, but I'm gonna wrap up tonight's video here. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely did. Nice variety. We worked on the SR, got everything kind of worked out with the bearings and stuff like that. Tomorrow we're gonna do final assembly on the bottom end. I'm excited. Hope you guys are too. I'm so pumped that I got to experience this tonight. Like, it feels good all around. So thanks guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Jump on that merch at SAMMIT.net and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Ciao mata.